podcast. I am your host, Alexa Joe, and today I am joined by a VIP guest, one of the best, and dare I say, best forever, best BFF.
Besties?
Yo, BFF.
Besties for the resties? Dare I say.
So, this is my BFF, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
Sarah. Do you want to just say who you are and where we are?
Yeah. Well, I'm Sarah, Alexa's bestie, as everyone heard. Been besties since we were like 10 years old. And we are at my apartment in Seattle, sitting in my bed with some really cozy mood lighting.
We had to set the tone.
It's really romantic, actually.
I can't believe we were about to start with the top lights on.
Yeah,
that
dude,
was not the vibe.
That was harsh lighting.
We got some candles. We got some little drinks going.
We got some blankets. We're nice and cozy.
Perfect night.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this is so fun because I've wanted to have you on the podcast for so long, but I didn't know if there would be an opportunity because unfortunately, we're long distance BFFs.
We live really freaking far.
It's a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
We manage,
but hard.
We're sad about it. It's actually tragic.
Long distance is tough.
It's worse than a long distance relationship.
It is a long distance relationship. This is my long distance relationship.
And you've done long distance.
And this is worse.
But anyway, we actually, of course, did not meet in Seattle. This is a post-grad adult life thing for Sarah.
Sure is.
But we have been friends for, God, has it been 15 years almost?
I think 15, or like just about 15.
Because we met in 4th grade, and Sarah was my first friend at my new dance studio because I don't remember exactly why, but I switched studios.
Yeah.
And that was super scary. That was like my first time I really remember going somewhere and starting something new and not having friends.
Wait, why did you switch studios?
I don't know, and I don't know that my mom even told me. She just said, "Oh, we're going to dance," and then all of a sudden it was a different place. And I was like, "What?"
Did you like audition at our studio though, or did you just like show up and you're like, "I'm on this team"?
Certainly I couldn't have just been put on a team.
I have no idea though.
I do think I remember auditions, but I think that there were summer classes before. So it was like after your nationals and before.
Like right at the start.
So
of
it must have been
season.
that month before, and it was like, I'm the new girl, and that was the first time.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I was the new girl where Sarah became my buddy and held me through that, but not the last time. No. And we'll get into that later.
Theme.
And anyway, so, it can be tough at that age because kids don't always think to like include somebody. They're just like, oh, that's
kids can be mean.
They can be horrible.
They can be ruthless.
And we're certified in that because we've worked with children many a time.
We've had our fair share of being bullied by like 7-year-olds when we're like 16, 18,
and also
20.
when I was 7.
And when I was 7. Yeah, at all ages. It really hasn't gone away.
Yeah, so we had to have been like 9, 10, which does put us at about 15 years.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Love that.
I feel like you have to be probably my longest friend in life, at least close friend.
For sure.
And anyway, so something about that was that while a lot of girls kind of had their friends and everything, Sarah was super sweet and welcoming, and I feel like we just had a laugh from the start.
I was gonna say, did I just have like no friends? Like what? what was wrong?
You
with
might
me?
have. I don't know. Were you just a loser?
I don't remember being a loser, but maybe I was.
Well, I was. So it worked out. 2 losers found each other.
There we go.
Anyway, no, you have always been super social and chatty, and so I don't know that it was necessarily even something that was super intentional, maybe.
Well, I feel like it was just fun too because we were like the same age, and I feel like
we were kind of with a few younger people.
I was gonna say, I feel like I remember like when I like joined dance. I don't know if it was just because I was like shorter or like on the younger side for the age, but I feel like I was always one of the older ones in the group and stuff, so I feel like it was exciting when someone else was like, oh, another 4th grader on the team, so I feel like that already was like something in common.
Oh, I forgot about that. We were a bit older for the team, but I think they also did that because both of us were little shorties.
Right, exactly.
We were shrimpies.
We matched the size of everyone else,
and they might have done that because it was my first year at the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons.
We should maybe contact them.
should we call them up and say what
among
we're
other
doing?
things that I have a bone to pick with them? The first one is that starting at day 1. Why were we put on rubies?
Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. No, that is a question that I would never want to ask.
But I'm really happy for it because then you became one of my best friends, and that was more so, I feel like, inside dance. Like, I don't really remember us doing too much outside of dance in elementary school.
Like, maybe, like, here or there, we did, like, one thing with, like, our moms and stuff, but it was probably, like, after dance.
It was probably, like, at a competition going to dinner or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just one of those things where it's just, you just have your dance besties, and because at that point in my life, I was actually, I would consider myself to have been really shy and probably actually lacked confidence. And that was also about the time that my parents separated, was when I was in 4th, 5th grade. So I feel like that also kind of was a knock to my confidence, but dance became a really good outlet for me in that way. And then to have friends there in ways that I did have friends at school, of course, but like with the way my school worked, that is kind of a transition period where me and my best friends that I'd been with through the rest of elementary school got split up. And so I was feeling like I didn't really have a lot of close friends, but you also helped introduce me to other people because you had grown up going there. And so, and that's a pattern. You helped me. But anyway, so then come middle school, that's when I feel like we really became like really good friends in dance and competitions together. And also I feel like my mom wasn't always able to come to stuff, and your mom really kind of helped me get ready for things, or like helped with this or that, or I came to hang out and stuff like that.
My mom wasn't like a dance mom, but I feel like she was always very like she was the mom who was like, if you needed a safety pin, like she would have it, or if you needed a snack, like she was just on her
and
shit.
I never had a snack nor a safety pin.
She was just
and while I was at it, I need some hairspray too.
She was just on her shit. Like she like, I feel like was just like very prepared with a lot of that stuff. So it's like if other kids needed it, it was very easy. Yeah.
So I really have grown to love and respect your mom, Jen, so much, especially for how she just like showed up for me too. And that goes even further, especially into high school.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we did a couple things outside of dance in middle school.
Yeah. I feel like towards like 8th grade-ish, like we started having like our little group of like dance friends. Like we'd go like to, you know, we did like cabin days and like stuff like that.
And you would invite me to things. And then it came to a point where my parents had moved. I was living in a different town at that time, but my parents had moved to the suburb, like just the next suburb over.
The same one I lived in.
But was the same one that Sarah lived in. So we were able to see each other a lot more, because before that it was a lot longer drive and everything. And when you're younger, you rely on your parents so much more.
Oh my God, yeah. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah. But I remember that I was either going to be between, there were 2 high schools in our district. We'll call them A and B.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we could. It's not that incriminating of stuff, but I don't know. So I could, with where my mom lived, I could go to high school A, and my dad was TBD.
Oh, I forget about that.
And I had you going to high school B, and you had your other friends, and it just seemed like you had such great, nice friends, and you were like, you'll be friends with us. So I was like, Dad, you have to move to the district for high school B.
Did you ever consider going to like the district that your mom's house was in, or the school that your mom's house was in?
No.
Okay.
I really didn't want to. I don't know why.
I don't remember that really ever even being like a consideration, but maybe it was.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
And I don't know that my dad was even necessarily planning. He wasn't planning to move to Woodbury, which is, you know, the next suburb over. But I think when my mom moved there, it became a lot harder. And so,
I mean, there's a lot more to go back and forth between.
I don't really remember the logistics of everything, but the moral of the story is, because Sarah and my other dance friends were going to high school B, I really tried to make that happen with where my dad moved, and he did. So I moved into a townhome in the district, and I was really excited for this new start, but it was also super, super scary because I had changed school districts, and
at the beginning of 9th grade.
At the beginning of 9th grade, which is the perfect time to do it.
It is, but it's also like, I don't, like, it's a good time, I feel like, because so many people are making new friends and making changes. Like, our high school was a mix of, like, a bunch of different middle schools, so, like, a lot of people didn't know people. But it's also, like, such a tough age. Like,
it was so hard. I feel like I went home and cried every day for the first, like, 2 months of school.
No, yeah.
And maybe at school, too. I don't remember.
Like that, yeah, no, something casual like
well,
that.
2 months might be cutting it closer.
Might be generous, yeah.
But anyway, like, I just remember being so nervous, and I didn't want to cling to you too much, but also like
you could have,
because it was also hard, because the truth of the matter is 8th to 9th grade is when people can be really mean and exclusive, and at my previous school I had felt that so hard. Like, I just had felt at that middle school that I went to, I felt like so, like I had friends, right? Like I talked to people every day at school, but I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And I felt like I kept trying to belong in places I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I will totally admit that at a younger age, I cared a lot about popularity.
Oh my God, yeah. I feel like in middle school, it's all like you just either think you're cooler than you actually are, or you're trying to act cooler than you need to act. And
I promise.
And no one's
I
cool.
promise the braces, the love pink sequin shirt, and the Ugg boots can only take you so far.
At least none of us are cool. Like, maybe middle schoolers now, like, I don't know. They're on some different shit. But, like, for us, like...
Oh, it's the trenches out there. They're wearing crop tops.
Honestly, we were wearing, like, we were either dressed, I feel like, in, like, sweats from, like, Victoria's Secret or, like, a pencil skirt. And, like...
And what 13-year-old needs to be wearing a pencil skirt?
We were either business casual or in sweats. Like, it was, like, that or die. And it was, like, you had to wear, like, your Ugg boots, your Miss Me jeans.
Pin straight hair.
Yeah. Oh, if your hair was not straight, like, so straight, you might as well not go to school.
Yeah, and there's probably days I didn't for that reason.
Yeah. No, I remember, like,
I woke up so early for school, but it was, like, you just care so much to fit in.
Oh, yeah.
And then to be in a space where it felt like, because there were a couple different middle schools that went into our high school, but mainly it was the one that you went to.
The one I went to, yeah.
And so I feel like because everybody is feeling really insecure about moving to the high school as well, like that's a big jump in independence and so many things. People also cling to what they know. And whoever was cool in middle school,
it's gonna stick.
It stuck.
Yeah.
And then to be the new person, it was really hard because it was so hard. I don't even know what else to say.
There's no other way to put it.
It was a really big thing. That was one of the first huge decisions I had to make in my life. And you, like, I have you to thank for so much of it, because I wouldn't have tried so hard to go to that school if you hadn't been there. And you welcomed me into your friend group. Like, think about the most mortifying thing on earth.
What?
Which is... who am I going to sit next to at lunch on the first day of school?
Thank God, too. I feel like at our school, because we had, like, 4 different lunch periods, but I feel like they tried really hard to put all the freshmen, like, in a period, because I have, like, such vivid memories of, like, our freshman table. Like, when we'd...
lunch A.
Yeah, lunch A. We'd sit in, like, that booth, like, by, like, the stairs and stuff. Like, I have, like, that ingrained into my brain. And it's, like, thank God, because imagine, like... Because all the other years, I remember there'd be some year, like, sophomore year, I think, where I just had a weird schedule. So there was, like, 4 other sophomores, like, in my lunch and stuff. But imagine if they did that to, like, the freshmen. Like, right, even worse, yeah.
And when you're a bit older, it's like, yeah, you know people from other grades. And you just don't care as much.
Yeah, but as a freshman, you care.
As a freshman, that is mortifying, especially as a new person. Like, that was the only thing I thought about all day. Because all the rest of the day, you're pretty much safe. Because you go to class, you sit in a random seat, blah, blah, blah. It was still horrible. And also, I was such an anxious child. Well, I was a big, fat, anxious child. So... I was nervous about not making it to my classes. It's a much bigger school than I was used to.
Oh, if you have to run from, like, upper blue to, like, fucking lower green or whatever.
Which is, like, the pods that our classrooms were
like, you were hustling, like, to get there. And you did not want to be the one running
little legs.
Oh, my God, yeah. And you, like, your lockers are, like... You know, like, you have to know your combo. You have to know to get from, like, point A to point B. You have to know which room you're going to.
And then, we also weren't allowed to carry our backpacks in our school. Yeah. So you had to go back.
We were, like, the only school that was a thing. Yeah. Like, you had to go to your locker between every class.
Yeah. Which, actually, once you get into the groove of things, you have more. 5 minutes is actually more than enough time. But it feels scary, super scary. And then you don't want to be called out and all these things. And then it's just, like, I remember I would try to get there, like, right before the class period starts, because I would dread sitting there.
You don't want to be too
silent.
Early. Yeah.
I would dread sitting there silent when everybody else is talking to their friends before the teacher starts the class, and I'm just sitting there like a friendless loser.
The new kid.
Because I was. But
to put it gently,
I was. But that's just, how could I not be?
I wouldn't say, like, loser. I feel like you could just say friendless.
Okay.
Like,
but that's what no, for sure. I don't think I was a loser, but that's how it feels in the moment. Yeah. You're like, wow, everybody probably thinks that I'm just, like, incapable of having friends, when really, I really don't think anyone was mean to me.
I don't think anyone was probably thinking twice, like, oh, look at that person with no friends. Like, I feel like no one actually thinks like that.
No.
But you feel it.
You feel it so hard, and everyone was too busy thinking about themselves, but I felt it.
Yeah.
And so having you, and you welcomed me into your social plans, like, I didn't have to worry so much about what I was going to do for homecoming because you were going to invite me to whatever or
like
this
the
or
football
that.
game, like things like that, things that mattered at the time.
Yeah, so I just feel like I have so much that I owe to you and to thank you because you really helped me get to a point where I felt more comfortable opening up.
For
and
sure.
Of course your friends were lovely and sweet, and those are some of my bestest friends to this day.
Yeah.
Emma and Clara, who I'd say are the ones that I've been like closest with since that time.
I feel like those
now.
were like two of the people I was closest with, like going into high school also.
Exactly. And Emma I live with.
Yeah.
And Clara, I see her so
All
often.
the time.
Like,
yeah.
those are some of my best friends in the world. And would I have met, how different would my life look now if I hadn't gone to your high school? Like, would we be as close as we are?
Oh,
probably
yeah.
not. Like,
not
or
if we
would
had
it?
if we had just stayed dance friends, like it would have been so different.
Yeah. So I just feel like that's such a special thing, and I'm so grateful for it. And I'm really grateful for maybe not that time in my life, but that experience and how it shaped me.
Totally.
But it just ended up it ended up being a thing where like it wasn't even like you were inviting me out of pity for things, but we really just became like best friends.
Oh yeah.
And
we were attached at the hip
attached
for a hot
at the hips.
minute.
And maybe not so much freshman year, but definitely by sophomore year.
Yeah. Was it the summer between freshman and sophomore year, or the summer between sophomore and junior year that we like lived together? I don't remember.
Potentially both.
Could have easily
I
been
really
both.
think it must have been after because you could drive.
Oh,
That's when we started
yeah.
seeing each other so much more.
Yeah.
I didn't get my license. Well, I guess I could drive that summer too.
True.
So it must have been that one. But anyway, that is seriously like when I think of that time in our lives, it makes me feel so warm.
Yeah.
Like because we just laughed so hard. I slept at your house. I ate dinner at your house more than I did
I
at
was
mine,
gonna say,
probably.
yeah, you would bring like your duffel bag or whatever and then move in. And then I think like my brother was already maybe at college by the time too. So we had like his bedroom we could take over, my bedroom we could take over. Like we had the whole house to ourselves. It was our house.
Yeah, it was our house. Exactly.
Well, that was when you came on like my family. Oh, because yeah, my brother was definitely in college at the time because
I came on your family
because he came on
vacation
my family vacation.
instead of your brother.
Yeah, because I was like, because it was spring break, but obviously like me and my brother didn't have overlapping spring breaks while he was in college, and so I was like, I don't want to just go on spring break with like my parents. I mean, it would have been fine, but I was like, wait, can I bring a friend? And they're like, sure.
And it was obviously gonna be me.
Yeah.
But it's so funny too because like even when I was on your family vacation, even after that, I feel like your dad was still like, "Who's Alexa?"
No, literally, literally, it would have to be like
I lived at your home.
It would be, who's Alexa? Oh, the girl that came to Florida with us. Oh, okay, and then that's how we would put it
Not
together.
the one that like sleeps at your house most of the week.
Oh my god, no, he was oblivious. Like Emma lived across the street from me my entire life, and it probably took him a while to even figure that out. It's a little slow.
He's busy.
He's got stuff going on.
But we hung out with Jen, your
my
mom,
God.
so much.
I have like memories of us just like sitting at the kitchen island, and my mom would be like probably like cooking us breakfast, honestly, or like cooking us like grilled cheeses, and we would just sit there and shoot the shit with Jen.
And actually, one thing that makes me laugh so hard is like it got to the point where people would just text one of us about both of us, or like somebody. Oh God, I think somebody texted me about asking about plans at your house.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's so true. Or people would be like, or I feel like people would text me and be like, "Oh, is Alexa free at this time?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me go check her calendar." Like, what?
Well, you probably didn't need to. I was there.
Yeah, we were like next to each other and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and also one of our friends, we had a good guy friend at that time, and what did he call it? I think he said like we're butt buddies.
We're butt buddies.
He's
yeah,
like never one cheek without the other.
Yes.
Which I like.
Yeah.
And so that's such a time that
Like
I
that
look
describes it so well though.
It does, actually, I never heard it.
No, yeah. But now I feel like I remember meeting people like in college, and they were like, "Oh yeah, butt buddies." Like that was like a term and stuff. And I was like, oh, "Okay, I guess he wasn't just creative and made that up just for us."
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the time it felt like it.
And we also were on the same dance team at that time.
Oh yeah.
So like our schedules aligned a lot, and it just made sense.
We saw each other for probably so many hours a day, now that I think about it. Because like we would have classes at school together. Like it wasn't like we'd just see each other at lunch. Like we would have classes together, and then we'd go after school to dance, and then we would still go live at each other's houses on top of that.
I kind of want to cry because I feel jealous of past us. We didn't even know how good we had it.
No, I
would kill to spend 18 hours a day.
It was just like so like simple too. Like I don't know. It was just like the little things, but it's like we could just be like, and it's like, what were we even doing? Because it's not like we were hanging out and like scrolling on TikTok. Like that wasn't a thing. Like what did we literally,
that wasn't a
like
thing.
literally what did we do with all of our hours together?
Fucked around.
Yeah.
Literally, what did we even do? We hung out in your basement, but what did we do?
I'll say all I'm thinking about, all I'm picturing is my basement. But like what? My dollhouse from childhood down there? Like what else was down there? It was pretty empty.
I don't know. I remember the first time I ever vaped was in your basement.
I remember that too.
And like we were, well, I don't know if you were nervous. I was so nervous about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't.
We were swatting away.
Swatting away the cotton candy cloud.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get addicted.
Thinking, oh my god.
And then I remember the minute I released that first puff, I was like,
the coolest person ever.
We're cool now. And we would have boys over.
That is, I was to
with
say, yeah.
permission, of course.
Yeah.
But another thing was that it was always nice because your mom was just like, come home at a reasonable time.
Well, yeah.
So we just did whatever we wanted.
Well, because
we
I
weren't getting
remember,
into trouble.
No, exactly. And I remember like with my brother, like he never had like curfews or things. Like he could literally be out till whenever. Not in a way that he was doing anything bad. I think it was in a way that like my brother's friends were like band and like robotics. Like they were like very like,
oh, so they went hard.
Oh yeah. So they were like very level-headed kids, and like my brother was always a good kid, and I feel like my parents were just excited when he was having like social plans, you know.
Right.
So they were just like, oh
like,
yeah,
please,
yeah,
come home in a cop car.
exactly. Like it's so much better like that versus like some like middle high school boys who are just like sitting in their dungeon playing video games all day. So I feel like since they never had like that strict of rules with him, they couldn't do it with me because like I was the younger one, and
even
stuff.
though you were Miss Social.
But like, but again, it's like we were never doing, I don't know, I feel like it was like as long as I'm coming home and things are fine.
Look, on the grand scheme of things, the things that other people in our grade were doing,
Exactly.
we were fine. We didn't even, do I want to say that?
We
didn't even do anything
We were like
really that bad. Like,
I feel like
I remember one time we snuck out to hang out with boys, but
and
we
we
like
literally walked around the neighborhood.
we went like literally that's all we did.
like we were just like, I feel like we just wanted to like feel something.
Like we really did. And then I remember after we snuck out, we were both like, we're kind of thirsty. I think, or maybe it was the two boys we were meeting, which were like, I don't even remember who we met.
No.
They were just our friends.
Yeah.
But we went back in to get something to drink.
And the thing is, I could have told my mom probably, oh, we're going to go out and do something.
And she
would
wouldn't
have been
have
like,
cared.
bye, have fun. But it's
But we wanted the thrill of it.
I would say the fact that we were sneaking out like made it feel
and then I can be like, have you ever snuck out? Yeah, we have.
Yeah. Never have I ever.
Yeah.
Like,
have I vaped? Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It was just like what you had to do at the time, I feel like. And I feel like everyone we were around was very, I don't know, no one was getting into crazy trouble. No one was doing it, you know? So no one really had to worry about that. It was just more so us trying to be stupid to make it seem like we were.
Yeah. I don't know. We just wanted to be able to like check things off.
Yeah. No,
and,
for real.
And it's
like a rite of passage.
It's funny because you don't want to seem like you're that. Like that feels like annoying to say, to be like, I just want to do it to say I've done it. But we both understood each other.
Yeah.
We were like,
well, at the time we were never going to admit that that's why we were doing
no, we
it.
would never admit that like we wanted to just like try a sip of a mic so we could say that we've drank before.
Oh my God. Yeah. No.
I don't even remember what happened there. But
yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on from that.
But yeah, that was
we
high school.
really didn't get into trouble in high
No.
school.
We like, yeah, we were just dumb kids trying to be cool.
Yeah, so I will always hold a special place in my heart for sophomore year, and then I feel like that transition into junior year is when things did change a bit. Like I'm not even saying in a bad way, but we weren't inseparable anymore. And I'd say the first thing about that is that we got put on different dance lines, like different teams at that time, and that was a really just like difficult thing to navigate because now we should talk about this in another episode, the dance world, but
God.
competition dance, it's really difficult.
It's a character builder for sure.
It's a character builder, and it's pretty political, and just some things can feel super personal. And I am really sensitive and not as able to rise. At the time, I was not really able to rise above the bullshit, but I feel like Sarah and your mom Jen are very much able to detach.
Yeah.
And
in the moment it's hard though, for sure.
Well, especially when you're like 16 and your
Oh my
dance
God,
teacher
yeah.
is like, if you don't do this, you screw over all
Ripping
your
you
best
apart,
friends.
yeah.
And like, and also like just telling you that you're not confident enough while also like making you feel like you'll never be good enough and you won't be recognized. And so I think I struggled a lot with that year. And I'm sure you did too.
Well, and the thing about that is like you're standing in front of a mirror for hours wearing like booty shorts and a sports bra around 15 other girls who are all like, you're all trying to do the same thing, and you're all like, I feel like, because like with competition dance, like you're supposed to look so similar, so it's so easy to like stand out in a bad way, you know, and then it's so quick to be like called out, and it's like you draw their attention if you're doing something like bad, and then you just can, it's so easy to pick apart all the little things.
Yeah, and actually I ended up feeling like it was more damage than it was worth.
Right.
And I quit. So I left the studio. And that was hard because then we didn't also share that.
Yeah.
And also being that we had a year where we were not on the same dance team, which also can feel like a jab in different ways. Like, they treat different people differently.
Totally. Yeah.
And I don't want to get too much on that topic because I feel like that's just completely different.
Fair.
But that is something that like not necessarily caused a rift for us, but it was just another separation.
Right.
Like we weren't another thing, we weren't there together all the time. And then I quit. And so my schedule opened up a ton and yours was still very intense.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's that. And then there's also junior year, we both got boyfriends.
Got boyfriends, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
And
when
that's
you said there was something, I was like, oh, the men.
Yeah. Oh, the men.
The boys.
Ruining everything.
The boys.
Ugh. And it's not like, I don't ever feel like a man came between us or anything like that.
God,
but it's just like, naturally, once you get a boyfriend, you start to go to them for everything. And we both kind of started being in relationships around similar time.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like you were a bit before me.
Maybe like a 6-month difference, if anything.
Yeah. But, so that changes things too.
Yeah.
And I feel like not even necessarily in a bad way, but that's just, we were no longer, one butt cheek could be found without the other.
Right. That's a great way to put it.
And you know, people started messaging me if they were wondering where I am instead of you.
That's crazy.
Stark difference.
No. But anyway. I don't honestly think that was a bad thing either. I feel like there'd be points when we were literally one butt cheek and another that we were like, wait, but I want to be my own butt cheek too, you know? like
it's important to be your own butt cheek.
Like there were times I feel like when we were like, wait, I want to like be able to answer for myself, you know? And like I feel like both of us. So then I feel like it wasn't like, again, it's not like, I feel like the way we're describing this, like it's not like we were separate, like, you know, we were still hanging out all the time and stuff, but it's just like I feel like we were just figuring out ourselves more, as much as someone at 16 years old can do.
Yeah, and that's okay, but it's also difficult to navigate that when you're like, wait, I love my best friend, I love being around them all the time, and also like, is it bad that we're always together, or wait, is it bad that we're not together as much anymore? And obviously it broke our friendship.
Obviously, clearly we're sitting here not friends.
I feel like we never really had a big blowout. I can't really remember a fight we've ever had.
Yeah, no, I was just
unless there was something that was like a little spat where one of us was annoyed with
like
the
it was
other.
like, don't be stupid.
Yeah,
you know?
which of course that's another thing I
we always
appreciate
are.
about a friendship. And so anyway, so that kind of brings that there, and then you know, both of our relationships were. They were good. They were good first
were they?
Boyfriends.
That is not the adjective I thought you were going to use, but sure. I'll go with it.
I think that they were good, like, introductions.
No, they were.
Like, it's not like either of them were bad people.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think both of us had our own hardships with feeling this pressure to keep them together. Because that first love feels super strong. It feels like this is the person, and also
you don't know anything different.
And when they have struggles, you want to be able to fix that. And then also as a friend, you can see your friend deteriorating and like not happy and giving so much to the relationship that you're like, I think this might be unhealthy. I think I don't like you two together anymore. And how do you navigate talking about that?
Oh my God, saying that to a friend, even now, like 10 years later, like trying to say to a friend that you think there's something up about the relationship, like it's so hard. It's so delicate because you don't want to push the friend away, because that can happen so easily. And I feel like, well, and it's so hard to feel like it's not your place, or feel like, oh, maybe I only see one side of it, but there, because there is always other sides to it and stuff. So it's like, you're like, oh, maybe I'm not seeing like everything they're seeing. Yeah. But something also about our friendship is I very much know that you will call me out on my bullshit. Like, if I'm on some bullshit, which I have been plenty of time. Well, yeah, we both are. Like, especially if I was like, I don't know, doing something and trying to get attention, you'd be like,
okay,
Stop it.
you're being like, you're definitely doing that for attention.
Mhm.
Like, what? Oh shit, she was right.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so like I always know that you'll keep it real with me.
Mhm.
And that's something I really appreciate. And like, you can't do that with every friend.
No.
And especially in high school, I feel like both of us maybe had a hard time with that with
Oh my
our
God, yeah.
relationships.
Mhm.
Because while I would tell you now, like,
That certain things
I felt
were,
like you were in a sinking ship.
Yeah, yeah.
At the time,
You gotta sugarcoat that a little bit.
at the time, you're like, do you still feel happy? And they're like, yes. And you're like,
Are
oh,
you
is
sure?
that... It's looking like not.
You're like, I feel as though.
Yeah, I feel as though I just want you to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is at the core, but
Yeah.
you have to be delicate. And so I think, you know, for me, I was having a lot of mental health struggles. I was really fighting kind of silently an eating disorder and body dysmorphia and really struggling with my relationship because I loved this person, but I think I was giving it more than they were giving to me, and I
Compromising more and stuff too.
Yeah, and I just was like really excusing a lot, and I think that's hard as a friend to see. Like now that I see that with other friends, it's like it's so hard when you see that because you know that they just love them, but I also am like, dude, get the fuck out. Like they aren't respecting you.
Also, like when you're in high school though, it feels like oh, like that's just the thing, you know? Like that's
You don't
just
know.
That's just who I'm gonna spend my time with. Like if I wasn't dating them, like who would I fill all my time with? You know? It's like, oh, it's just convenient to like have a boyfriend in high school. It's just like someone who's always there. You can always hang out with them if you want to. You'll always have a date to prom or things like that. Like it's just something to do.
Well, and also you just don't know what a bad or a good one looks like. Like you think we're nice to each other,
Yeah.
and we love each other, and we have fun, and we laugh. So I just wanted it to be right so bad, and I held on for too long. But the nice thing was that when I was ready to admit that, you were just so supportive. Like I remember one specific text that I was like, I think it might have been after I broke up with him, but I remember being like, or maybe it was before. Sorry. Honestly, we were talking about it before we broke up.
We both were.
Yeah.
Both our relationships were done before they were done.
Yeah, but you don't know. You need your friends to get through that, and it's
Totally.
hard because once you voice it, you feel like you have to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, I just remember saying like, I'm scared that I'll never find somebody who loves me again, and I'm scared that I'll never find that again. And I just remember you being like, dude, it's impossible that you won't.
Yeah.
Like you are everything in this world. Like the amount that I love you
Yeah.
is like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, and somebody else will do that. And you were so right.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and also it was like one of those things, it's like now looking back, and I'm sure I felt the same way, but it's like we were 18.
yeah.
Like, and we thought like that had to be the end all be all, you know? And it's just like that was never the case, but in the moment you don't realize that.
Yeah. And I think, I just remember you helped me through that so much.
Well, and vice versa, you with me for sure.
Yeah, through deciding to end that and come to that place. But it's such a touchy thing. Like, I even feel like both of us could have been more vocal about, like,
100%.
Hey, I don't think this is it.
Oh,
Which now we would,
100%,
but
yeah.
when you're that young, not necessarily. Because I don't think either of us knew how to do it in a way that wouldn't sever the friendship or, like, damage it.
Or, like, you didn't want to come off as being, like, judgmental or, like, I don't know, overstepping or, like, trying to, like, ruin something that, like, the other person thinks is making them happy and stuff.
Right. Because, like, I guess for yours, I don't want to speak too much about your relationship.
No, go for it.
Okay, then I will speak a lot about it anyway. So here's the thing. It was a dumpster fire. No, it wasn't. It wasn't, but
oh my
I
God,
just
that makes
like
me think of when there was an actual dumpster on fire.
Oh, we also
you
did
there
that
for
in high school.
I was were you there for that one?
We also
Yeah.
started
On the 4th of July when there's a dumpster on fire at a
that
school.
it was gonna be like a felony.
Yeah, and one car just drove away, and we were like, okay, bye guys, I guess we'll literally put out this dumpster fire.
So that one was a lot less scary than the other dumpster fire.
Other one. The other dumpster fire was a multi-year dumpster fire.
That was such a hard one. Like,
because it wasn't always a dumpster fire.
no, like I did like him because we were friends with him, but I also hated seeing you be so drained from it.
Yeah.
And then like being in group settings and you just seemed so upset, like not having a good time.
Yeah.
But then you'd also be like, oh, it was fun. And I'm like, was it though? Because
No,
you
yeah.
seemed upset, because the thing is, like, he was going through his own host of problems and it brought you down.
Yeah.
And that's hard, because I know that you loved him
Yeah.
and cared for him, but also didn't have that. When you're young like that, you don't have that same like strength or will to walk away, and more so feel like, this is the person I love, I have to just stick by him.
Yeah. Or like feeling the need to like, oh, what they're going through is so much worse, so like would be selfish of me to like put me first, which like at that age, like it wouldn't have been.
Right. Like, I feel like at that age you think more so, I have to go down with the ship.
Yeah.
Than like, I'm sorry, this is going down and I have to save myself.
Yeah.
And like let it sink.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that time?
No.
For
Yeah.
you?
I don't know. I feel like I blacked it all out. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like 100% wouldn't change anything. Like, as shitty as sometimes were, I feel like it's shaped so much of who I became and stuff. And I feel like it honestly, like, I feel like it shaped a lot of like the career I went into. Like, being around someone who had a lot of their own mental health things going on made me want to go into working in mental health and stuff. And like, I don't know, I can't say for certain if that would have happened had, you know, had I not been exposed to that. And it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things that's like, it's not like embarrassing, but it's like looking back, you're like, I feel like everyone around me could see so many things that I could never see myself and stuff. And it's like, why couldn't I just, you know, be more aware of that? But it's like, when you're in it,
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
Hindsight's 20/20.
yeah,
And
100%.
and it's so hard to know what to do as a friend.
Right.
And ultimately you don't want to say something and then have them feel like then they won't come to you anymore, because then they're like, okay, well, they already want me to break up with them, I can't. And I just know, I feel like I remember being like, hey, how's everything going? And you felt like you couldn't be upset or have a hard time with,
or you don't want to tell your friends the bad things, because you don't want your friends to just like think you're in a, like, you want your relationship to seem good to other people.
Right, exactly.
Like, you don't want other people to just hear all the negative things and stuff, which I feel like does happen a lot. Like, I feel like you're more likely to go to someone and complain than go to someone and be like, oh my God, I just had the most amazing like date of my life, you know, like they're gonna hear more negatives than positives for your friends.
For sure. Especially because back then, well, even now though, but you don't want to be like annoying about it, especially then you're in love, puppy love, whatever. It's your first love, you don't know what to do. And so I think that was definitely one of the ebbs and flows of our relationship. I don't know which one it is. It's like when someone's there for you for through thick and thin, which one's which? I don't know.
No,
is good thick or thin? Either way, that's like an ebb and flow, and I feel like we weren't as close during that time. Still good friends, of course.
Oh my God, yeah, we would still like be together almost every weekend and stuff. Like, it was just maybe not living at each other's house.
Yeah, and I think that just, you know, it made us both bring a more sad, stressed, anxious energy to group functions.
Yeah.
And
because we had another person to worry about. Like, it wasn't like just worrying about ourselves and each other.
Right. And for you, I feel like it was like, he's upset that I'm with other people, or I'm worried about him because he's going through this or that, and I'm out having fun with friends. Like, I feel like I can't be, or just like,
wow, I forgot about
on your
all
phone
this.
and
This
all
is
this
really,
stuff.
this is like therapy. This is really unpacking all of this stuff. Now I'm like thinking of all these times. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, I was like I remember being on like, and I don't want to like talk overly bad about the relationship because it wasn't all bad. But like,
it was your first love.
But like, I remember being like on senior spring break, and like a lot of other people were noticing like, you're literally in a resort, you're 18 years old, you're supposed to be having the time of your life, like, why is there any external thing like bringing it down, you know? And I feel like it wasn't until like other people started saying that I was like, oh shit.
And you don't want to admit it at that time, so you'll like push back.
Well, and then it's like at that point it's like, okay, it's senior year spring break, it's like, okay, we might as well just, you know, keep dating for the rest of high school, and then like, you know, because it's just like your comfort thing, it's just easy, it's just like right there. It's like, why break up now? Like, we might as well just keep doing what we've been doing, which is like not the right option, but it's what felt like it made sense.
Right. And I think it was interesting because I feel like we were almost like flip side of our relationships. Now, I really don't think I was like your ex-boyfriend at all.
No,
But
I don't think you were.
like I just really tried not to bother my boyfriend too much or ask too much of him. But he also wasn't giving me as much as I feel like a boyfriend should.
And he wouldn't notice when you were like pulling back, and that like maybe he should, like maybe he needed to be more for you, but I don't think he would pick up on that.
No.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
No. And it's so funny because I think even now I look back at it with more like rose colored glasses, even though it fucked me up for so long. During it, after it, whatever. And like also, side note, me and this person have no beef. Like we've buried the hatchet. There have been apologies. There have been like we caught up once. I want nothing but peace,
I go
love,
the
and
no
joy.
contact route permanently.
And sometimes that is the route. But for me and this person, like that was part of my healing. But
yours
also,
is probably a little healthier than mine, but
I can
that's
understand.
a different thing to unpack.
Oh, we want to call my relationship healthy.
I said no. I said the way you handled the aftermath down the road.
Potentially. I do also remember posting pictures on my Visco that said living my best life, like drunk in some random party. Meanwhile, I probably cried on my way home.
Probably.
Like, oh,
I think I more just took the route of black out everything that happened before.
Right. So coping mechanisms.
Yeah. Okay. Different. Different coping routes for sure.
But a lot of that stuff that like I just also know that I hid so much from my friends.
Yeah.
About just how much I was sad and disappointed, and I held on desperately to that relationship until I couldn't anymore. And I feel like you were in a different position where you were like,
I feel like mine
you can't let go, but
I feel like mine like had an end date that we both knew. And it, like it did, like genuinely, like I think it like just like had an end date that we both knew. So it was kind of like, let's
going to college.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, let's just like end on as good of a note as we can. And then it took a little different of a turn, but that's a different story. But I feel like the goal was to just kind of like end on as good of a note as we can. And we both know we'll be sad that it's over, but we both know that that was like the right next step. Like, I don't think we would go through phases obviously where we're like, oh, maybe we could make long distance work. But I think we both knew in the back of our heads that like college was the end point.
And it's so interesting because I don't remember there being an exact point where you told me and you were like, me and...
Oh, I don't think I ever told anyone.
We'll call him...
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll call him Dave.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know a Dave. I
don't either.
Oh, me and Dave broke... I don't remember that ever. It just was like, you just were done.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like a natural thing. Like, I don't think I questioned it either.
But because I remember like being like embarrassed to like tell people. Like, I remember not even really telling my mom like that we like I never was like, oh, we broke up. But it was just like I'd be at school and she'd be like, oh, like, how is this person doing? And I'm like, oh, like, they're fine, but we actually decided, like, it'd be better to go into college, not dating and stuff. Like, it was, like, that's, I feel like, how I explained it. I never was like, Mom, we broke up. Yeah. Like, you know, like, and I feel like, again, that was probably me coping with it, not in, like, a healthy way. But I feel like I was, like, I don't know. I feel like it was just, like, I don't know if embarrassing is the right word, but I just didn't want to tell people. I just didn't want to talk about it. And I feel like it was never like a super hard end. Well, it was, but we didn't end on a bad note. Like, it wasn't like this is a bad thing, so we're breaking up. There were bad notes before it, but like the very end moments were good. And so it felt weird. It was just kind of more of like a goodbye as opposed to like a breakup, if that even makes sense.
I like that, actually.
Yeah. It was just like, we were like, okay, like we had this good last weekend together. And even after we like quote unquote broke up, we would still like text here and there, you know, like we probably would even still say like I love you and stuff. Like, it was just like a weird phase.
You're phasing out.
And then again, there were some weird mixes in there too.
Unimportant. Yeah. And well, mine was very much a dramatic hard breakup.
Yeah. So different.
Also, right before I moved to school, if we're being exact, the night before I moved to school.
I remember that.
That was the only option that we had, which we could get into another time. I feel like first loves and all of that would be a good episode.
That could be a whole,
Anyway, well, this is not about stupid boys. This is about us and our friendship and being besties for life.
But this relates to it.
It does, for sure. Because also at that point, oh my gosh, I remember the last day we hung out when you still lived in Minnesota.
Was that the day we went to Punch Pizza and went like ham walking?
Yeah. So anyway, that was hard, but also, so our senior year of high school, Sarah's dad got a job in California. And so Oh, we also kind of tore it up senior year because your parents were never at your house.
Yeah. Sorry, mom and dad. We say
because they'll listen to my podcast.
Hey, if you think I'm not sending this episode to Jen immediately.
Yeah, but your dad will never. He'll say, "Who's Alexa?"
yeah, he doesn't have the time. No, senior year was fun because my dad moved to California, and then my mom would go visit him like once a month, I feel like.
And that's when we would throw a party.
And then
I feel like at that point, even so, people would also message me about parties at your house.
Yeah, probably. No, because I remember there'd be the times where like people that I'm like, I'm not even really like friends, because like it's not like we say parties, but they weren't like ragers where we're inviting the whole school.
No, our school was very cliquey, so it was only people you know.
We were inviting
it was
like
only
our
your
friends,
good friends.
but then there'd be like small clumps of people that I was like, wait, I'm not even really friends with you. Why are you showing up to my house? But it was like fine.
Yeah,
like it was never like nothing bad ever happened.
Yeah, but. So that was a good phase, but also like a really tough time, I think, for our friendship. Not even in like a tension way, but in a like we're both navigating uncharted territory and we're no longer, I don't know, like you deal with things, you don't feel the need to talk about them, and I do like to at a certain point, and I don't think that's bad or anything. You always give me the space to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think either is good or bad.
Navigating how to be there for someone when you can't relate to how they go through things is also different. Like, I mean, I feel like we figured it out.
Right.
But yeah, so then going to college, I stayed back in Minnesota and
I moved to California.
Which, so happy for you. Love you. Love that for you.
Loved it for me too.
But of course, that's when we became long distance best friends.
Whoa, that's crazy. That was like so long ago. Like we've been doing long distance friendship for so long.
I know. When's the end?
I was just gonna say, the weird thing is like you don't even know if there'll ever be like an end. Like, will we ever live in the same place again?
I do think about that because it's kind of crazy. It would feel like, wow, this is an epic treat if we lived in the same state.
Like that, like almost feels like hard to believe.
Yeah. And, you know, but I also think that we still stay connected.
Yeah.
Like, but that wasn't always the case. You know, throughout college, I definitely feel like there were certain times that our high school friend group stayed connected, and other times it was like I literally haven't talked to anybody in 6 months.
I feel like the beginning of college, like we would all talk a lot still, you know, like I feel like we were all very like we would go, oh fuck, there was this app, I don't remember what the app was, but it was basically like before group FaceTimes were a thing, but you could all group FaceTime on this app.
Called? Group Me or something?
I was gonna say Group Me, but I know that's not it too. Oh fuck, but yeah, there's an app. So I remember like for the first like quarter of college and stuff, we would like all get on that, talk about what our colleges were like and stuff, and like
I feel like that was a hard time too because your school started later.
Yeah, my school started like almost like a month and a half later.
So at first, I remember you kind of having a hard time because everybody else was already like moving on and you were seeing them having fun in college, and you were still like at home in California.
Well, and I had just moved to California where I knew nobody. That was like a really weird phase of my life because I moved to California, knew nobody, was getting ready to go to college, which is already a weird change for people.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember like
and just a different type of lifestyle.
Right. I remember at one point like nothing was wrong, but I just like lost my appetite for like days. Like I would go out to like nice dinners with my family and be like, oh my god, everything on here looks so good. I just like don't feel like and I think it was just my body just adjusting to being in a new environment. I was like, I just don't feel like hunger. Like, you know, I didn't feel like anything was like wrong. It was just like such a weird adjustment that I feel like while I was in it, I didn't really realize how weird of an adjustment it was. But now looking back, I'm like, oh shit. And there was like shit going down in my, like, you know, still the back and forth with the high school relationship, and then seeing all your friends going to college and making new friends, and I'm now in a new place where there's no way for me to make friends until I start school a month later.
Right, which is still intimidating to go start school. And then you know, it's kind of funny because out of everybody in our high school friend group, you were the last person I expected to join a sorority.
Yeah.
And I think you're the only one who did.
Yeah. I think so too.
I think some of our other friends rushed but dropped it, which makes sense now.
Yeah. And I was never like, I never went into college being like, oh, I'm going to go join a sorority. I was just like, oh, I'll give it a try. I remember my freshman roommate, she was from Texas. And so they're like memorizing every sorority's like logo before they go to college and stuff. And she asked me like, are you doing this? And I was like, oh, like, yeah, might as well, you know, like didn't really think about it and stuff. But I was never like I was like more so I'll try the process and see, and if I don't like it, I can say I tried it.
Yeah. And you're so good and level-headed about that, because for the average person, they might panic and feel like, I have to join a sorority because I won't make friends, or...
Sororities in itself is a whole nother beast. Also, it helped at my school, like, when you're in Greek life, it feels really big because you're around a lot of people in it. But, like, my school is so not a school that you have to be in Greek life to have a party.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, our Greek life is less than 10% of our school. Like, you do not need to be... And I think everyone who went to I went to UC Santa Barbara, and I think everyone who went there, regardless of if they're in a sorority or not, would say the exact same thing. Like, I knew girls who were in different houses. I knew girls who weren't in any houses. Everyone has opportunities to socialize. Everyone can party. Like, everyone is friends with people who are and aren't and stuff. So it's like, I feel like that's what made it. Like, we're so not like we're not like the South or even like the Midwest. Like, I feel like in Minnesota and Wisconsin, they're way bigger than they are in the West Coast.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know. Because, again, college is one of those times that we just were more distant. Like,
physically, too. You know,
physically distant. And also just, like, you get so involved in your best friends where you are. Like, it really is proximity, right?
Totally.
And
that's, like, I'm pretty sure that's, like, a psychological thing. Is like, it's, like, like, the closer you are to people, like, physically, the easier it is to, like, form friendships. Like, that's why, like, in the dorms, if you're, like, constantly, like, passing someone in the dorms, like, who lives next to you all the time versus someone who lives across campus that you never see, I think it's just, like, easier to become friends.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's like, there wasn't any bad blood or any reason for it, but it would just be like, oh my God, I literally haven't talked to Sarah in 6 months.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because now I wouldn't want that to happen.
No.
But at the same time, not that I wouldn't be surprised. I guess I say wouldn't be surprised because sometimes I go backpacking for a few months, in which case I try to check back at home, but also it's very distracting.
Well, yeah, there's just
it's a
not
distracting
even always
time.
The option. Yeah.
I want you to talk about your college experience a bit more, because from my point of view, it seemed like you just had like a great, super fun time, awesome time of your life.
Yeah.
Incredible, amazing,
Partying
so fun.
on the ocean.
So jealous of all of your life.
I feel like I'm laughing because if any of my college friends are to listen to this, they're going to die because they know we will take any and all opportunities to talk about our college experience. Like, literally, they'll text and they'll be like, it just got handed to me on a platter. Like, people are just asking and I just had to talk about it. And so this is, like, literally what we were put on this earth to do, is go spread the word about UC Santa Barbara and how it's the best school in the world.
You've convinced me.
Yeah. No, college, the best time. Like, I mean, obviously, you see the highlight reel on social media. And obviously, there were times that were better than not. But as a whole, the best time ever. Like, I don't know. I feel like people go to college and they're like, oh, I can become a whole new person. You know, I'm around all these new people. I can be whoever I want. But I honestly think that I was pretty similar to how I was in high school, just hopefully more mature. And, you know,
you've just grown. Like, you're the same person, but you've just
But I feel like if you, I mean, and you did come visit me in college, and I feel like you wouldn't come and be like, oh my God, who is this person? You know, like, I feel like and I feel like my, like, college friends and my high school friends would all merge really well. Like, I feel like I've always been really lucky in both situations that I've had groups of girl friends who've had such little to no drama, which is, like, I don't know, which I feel like is just really rare. Like, my senior year of college, shout out 8-5, we lived in a house of 15 girls, and everyone who hears that thinks it's, like, gonna be a shit show on wheels.
Right, of course.
And it was so not that. Wow. Like, obviously there's little things, like, people are gonna leave their dishes out and someone is gonna text in the group chat and be like, the dishes need a vibe check. But, like,
that's a very, very nice way of putting it.
But it's also, I don't know if this is a good thing, but it's also so much easier to call out someone in a group of 15 versus if you live with, like, one other roommate. Because when you live with 15, you don't know exactly who's the one leaving their dishes. So you just send it out to the whole group and you're like, someone needs to come do their dishes. But if you live with one other person and they're leaving their dishes, then you have to be more confrontational and, like, tell that person directly, like, hey, stop leaving your dishes. So maybe we were all just not very confrontational people, but, like, we all just worked so well in a house because it was during COVID too. So none of us were leaving to go to class. We all did school from our home. I shared a room with 3 other girls. There was 4 of us in one bedroom, and we we're all doing school all day. Like I remember I'd be in like a meeting with my boss and my roommate was like climbing up, her bed was in a loft and she was like climbing up her ladder to her loft and almost fell, and like my boss was like, oh, your roommate, like, is she okay behind you? Like they can see everything that's going on in your room and stuff, and it's just chaos, but like, I don't know, in the best way. And I feel like COVID had so many silver linings of being in college during that, because I do not think that my house of girls would have been as close as we were had we not been confined to literally one house forever and stuff. Like we got so close. We were able to go on so many like group trips together. We would throw just our own parties for ourselves. Like we had 5 different bedrooms in our house, and we would do like themed nights where like each bedroom was like a different holiday and they had to make a drink for everyone, or a different TV show, or I don't know, just different things like that. Or we would just go out on the deck, because we had the best deck in the world. It was literally on the ocean and stuff, and we'd just go out there and be doing school and be tanning on our deck and like have our laptops and stuff. And it's just all these things that we never would have been able to do had it not been COVID. So college was really good. I mean, again, obviously there's going to be points that's like
tough,
that sucked, or like times that's like, oh, I got too drunk at that party and I shouldn't have, or like I did something stupid, or I said something stupid. Or even then, obviously you're more mature, but you're still like, people do stupid things to try to be cool that you don't need to be doing and stuff.
And like, will you admit them out loud?
Probably not.
It's hard to admit that to yourself.
Yeah, but it's like
things that hurt.
But it's like everyone knows it and stuff. Even like we were saying with joining a sorority, like we were talking about this a little bit ago. I didn't get my first choice of sorority. And like that's right at the beginning of college. And I feel like for a lot of people that could feel like the world is crashing down and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like a tough blow to start college. But I don't know.
Because there's someone out there that didn't choose you, that you chose. And that is a really tough thing when you're in a vulnerable state.
Right. Or I feel like what always made me like probably like overly petty is seeing other people then who got what I wanted and being like, you know, and stuff. I think I just didn't care enough about like sororities to really let it get to me, but it still does, whether you know, there's still parts of it. So it's like, you know, starting off college like that, and then it's like college friendships go through waves. You're closer with some people, and then you see some people that you thought you were really close with get close with someone else, and like navigating friendship stuff, I think one thing that my college house we always talk about is we never really had a lot of like boy drama, which I think is what was big, because I think that can be really hard for a lot of groups of girls. I feel like I'm rambling about college.
But moral of that though is just that you had so much going on in your own realm of life. Yeah. Like, and same with me. That's just the way college is. Like you will feel more distant from your high school friends for a bit because you have so much going on in your immediate life and so much unraveling in front of you, and that is all encompassing. And so it was never like we were never not friends. Yeah. My entire life, I feel like even if it had been like an entire year since I talked to you, I'd still be like, oh, that's one of my best friends in the whole world. Yeah. 100%. Like you will always be my BFF.
100%.
Just always.
Yeah. No matter what phase of friendship we're in.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel so lucky to have found that, because I remember when I was young, probably before high school, like middle school, I wanted a best friend so bad. And I kept trying to make it work with different people and be like, oh, that's my best friend. Oh, maybe this person can be my best friend. Because I just wanted that so bad. And I think looking back, it's like, it's not something that you force or you just make happen. It's just the way that it is. It's just the way you click. And so it's natural for ebbs and flows to happen, even if I will always consider you one of my top dogs, you know? Totally.
And then I feel like too in that realm, it's like, oh, it's like, if you view them as like your number one best friend, but then they're talking about someone else as being their best friend. It's like,
I think you can have multiple.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, you can acknowledge, oh, they're still my best friend, and they still have all these best friends, you know? Like just because someone else has all these other best friends, it doesn't change your friendship.
Right. Like, and that can be hard at first when you see that person starting to make other friends and get close to other people. It can feel a little bit like, whoa. That's
what were we?
Why is she so?
It's like she's a relationship. Like, are we getting jealous?
No, I was getting jealous.
No,
but it's like, oh wait, she's becoming super close with that person. Like, am I gonna get shoved out? Because sometimes that does happen.
Totally.
But that's also just the way things are. And also, like, I went to college. I also had, people that were my best friends there, and it didn't make you any less my friend. It was just that's the person who's there every day with me.
Again, it's like that proximity thing. They're physically there.
But that didn't make you less my best friend.
Yeah, and we both had like college boyfriends, which is just, again, it adds that layer of it's like it's not like a boy is ever coming between you and your friend by any mean, but it's just another person in the equation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our college experiences were very different from each other.
Yeah.
I would say and I never felt any like bad feelings towards that besides jealousy and
you're like besides
envy
raging hate and
hatred.
But other than that, no.
No, but you were living this life that I thought that college was going to be, and my experience didn't look like that. And my college was super fun. I had a lot of fun. I had great moments. I did meet people that I felt
really
like I really connected. I had some really high highs, but I had some really low lows. And it didn't end up for me the way that it ended up for you. And it's not a comparison game or anything.
Right.
It's just that we had different experiences.
Which is hard not to compare that, though. Like, with anyone. Like, it's hard to be like,
Like, especially with our high school friend groups, I remember I had a tough, I'm going to say first semester, and then I'm like, and second and third and fourth.
You're like, oh, that last one too.
The last one? That was like the worst stage of life.
You're like, oh, you mean the lowest point of my entire life? Oh, that one.
Yeah. But I remember seeing everybody going and seeing like they were having so much fun, making the best friends of their life, having that college experience that I wanted. And I was so not having that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you felt at first before you went to school.
Exactly. And I feel like our our high school friends had all very different college experiences.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone, I think, went through so many different ways, like waves. Like, we were all high at one point, we were all low at different points and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then with our friendships with each other, they went through different waves.
Right. Like, you randomly will talk to one person a long time, go visit them.
Or like there'd be some people like I feel like I wouldn't talk to at all in college. But then now it's like, they're some of my closest people, you know?
For sure. Yeah. So one of those things was like we would talk from here and there. And then I came to visit you sophomore year in Santa Barbara, and that was so much fun. First of all, I didn't know how you got any school done. Second of all, I was like, this is the college experience I want. This is amazing. I'm so happy for her. Like, I love this. This is so cool. And I do think that's super important in maintaining long distance best friendships or just friendships in general, is like, make a fucking effort.
Yeah.
Make an effort to go see where they are. Like, yes, it will cost you a big chunk of money.
And time.
But look, that money's gone. I have no idea. Like, what would I have done with it otherwise?
Yeah.
That's what I make money for. And
well, we weren't making money at the time, but
I was making some.
Okay. We had our like minimum wage college jobs.
Yeah. I think I might have bartended then.
Oh.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, that's probably more than minimum wage. That's a good one.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's just that it's so worth it. And I think going to visit them, you won't regret it.
Never.
And it's so important to see your friend's life. Like, I love that I got to go meet your college friends and see the places that you talked about all the time, because it made it so much easier for us to catch up.
Yeah.
Because
and then you realize like what they're talking about when they're like referencing all these places or these people or things. Yeah.
And then I think you came to my college house. It was just my high school friends that came. I don't think any of my college friends were there.
Because it was over winter break. I think we went for a night and just like stayed at your house, but I don't think we got to meet a lot of your college friends, which was kind of a bummer. But we got to like see where you live.
It was just cool for you guys to see my town and come to my apartment. It was so fun to share that. Like, it feels really nice to share your life with the people that are close to you when they don't know it. And so I'd say prioritize that. Like, I am here in Seattle now seeing Sarah's life, and it's been so much fun. And honestly, I should have done it sooner. But and that's like, what I feel regrets about, because you've lived here for so long, and it's like, why was that not something that I did sooner? But it's just so easy to be like,
you also have 5,000 other places in the world that you go in a year, so I could get how Seattle might not slide in super easily.
Look, I'm not really a gray, cloudy, rainy person. No. But I'm really not here to see Seattle.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to see you and see your life here. And like, I want to come see your apartment. I want to see where you go to school. I want to see your job. I want to go to the coffee shop that you go to and meet your friends here and know what you're talking about when you say this and that, because it makes it so much easier to catch up too. And going to visit you, that's a thing I'm really glad I did.
Yeah.
And it helped
for
kind of
sure.
reignite the closeness in our friendship again.
We were just back on our bullshit.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's always like nothing's changed.
Right.
Whenever I see you, it's like, hey girl.
It's not like, oh my God, I missed you so much. Like we have
And,
so
like,
much to catch up
have.
on. Which is true, but it's not like we have to go through that phase. Like
But
we
I
just
feel
jump
like
right back in.
It's just immediately like we're like going to, it's like after school sophomore year.
We're just catching up on our day.
We're driving to get 69-cent cones at McDonald's again. Like it feels like that. Yeah. And so, yeah, we went in a phase where we really liked to go get cones.
We really liked McDonald's cones.
We did. They were so good.
That was a good phase.
They used to be affordable.
Fuck.
But yeah, so I don't think you'll ever regret going to visit.
No.
And yeah, towards the end of college when I started going through a really, really hard time, that was another thing when you came out of the woodwork too.
Well, I remember at one point like texting you, and it was just another one of those times that it's like been a while since we catch up, because it just, again, long distance friendships, it just goes through those phases. And I remember one time just texting you like, a usual like, hey, how have you been? And you were like, actually really bad. Like actually like things are not good. And I was like, oh shit. And that's when it was like, okay, we need to like talk more regularly, like we need to like, because I had no idea that things were so bad. Like I thought it was just gonna be another catch up. You would tell me what college is like during it was during COVID, right? So you would tell me what college is like during COVID. We'd compare, blah blah blah. But then that's when it was like oh shit, like no, like things, this isn't just a usual catch up.
Yeah, and I feel like it took a pretty hefty fall for me to be like, actually shit's hit the fan.
Yeah. Because it's so easy to just be like, oh, things are fine, whatever. But like to actually be like,
that was when I needed you so hard. And our high school friends came out of the fucking wood from like everyone, like our high school friends, I feel like really gathered around me. And even it was people that we hadn't spoken in a while, or
we
like
hadn't seen each other physically and like
like we could have probably more than we did, but it was just like well, not you physically.
Well,
but,
me
and some of our friends that went to school closer in the cities, it could have been more, but you just get so wrapped up in your life.
Oh, 100%.
But it was like, even if we hadn't been that close in a few years, everybody I feel like snapped and they were like, it's time to rally around Alexa.
Yeah.
And that is really, really what got me through it. Like, and it was hard because everybody had their college friend groups and I didn't have that anymore. And so I was like, my sole friend group is people that this is just like a side like remembrance thing for them. But that doesn't really matter. No. It's like, that's something I appreciate so much is everybody just snapped into it. Yeah. And they just, like, you guys all were just like, okay, it's time. Like, it's almost like you guys had a PTA meeting and you were like, it's time.
We rallied the
and
troops.
People were like, I remember we FaceTimed and that's hard. Like, we have always had a hard time scheduling FaceTime.
Oh, so bad about it. We'd be like, are you available on the 22nd of next month, basically? And then we'd be like, oh yeah, for sure. And then the day would come up and we'd be like,
it'd be like,
actually,
oh wait, we were supposed to FaceTime today.
Yeah, we're like, oh shit.
And it's just also hard when you haven't caught up in so long. It's not like talking to your friends is ever exhausting, but it's like, like literally everything's new.
Yeah. Like there's so much to go over.
So what I would recommend is just calling randomly.
Yeah.
Like if you have like 10 minutes, just be like, just FaceTime. And if they're not available, they won't pick up.
That's so true. I love like,
I love random FaceTimes.
I love like a cold call. Like when someone's just like, oh, I was just on a walk and wanted someone to chat to.
Whatever happened to cold calls?
Yeah. Asterisk, depending on the person.
Right.
Some people I'm like, why are you calling me?
But they always have they don't have to pick up. And it's like, at least you're giving effort. Like if you called me and I wasn't able to pick up, then in the next few days, I'd really try to make an effort to call back. Rather than if we were both trying to figure out a time and you're like, we have so much to catch up on, we should schedule out a half hour to an hour. It's like, then it becomes literally a meeting. Yeah. Or it's like,
it's so much easier. It's like, oh, I'm just on a walk. And I was like thinking like, oh, I wonder what's new with you. And then you just call them.
Like, I would say, don't make that something that you're adding to your to-do list. Just do it.
Just do it.
And those are kind of the most fun times because you don't even have to say like, so what's everything, update me. Like you could just be like, hey, I'm on a walk to go to Trader Joe's today. What are you up to? Yeah. Yeah. And then like, oh, what are you going to get? And you're like, oh, I'm making stuff for dinner, blah, blah, blah. Like it can literally just be that. Just, you don't even have to catch up on anything other than what you're doing in that moment. Yeah. But those are things that can keep your friendship alive for sure.
Definitely. I agree.
And so, yeah, it's okay if your friendships go through ebbs and flows where like you aren't super close anymore and then you come back. It doesn't have to mean that there's bad blood or something wrong or anything. But also still put effort into that, I'd say. still put effort into the friendships.
Yeah.
Call them on their birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I think something I have tried to do, if I'm in the country, if I'm not, I'll send a video, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Snapchat video.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
last year I was in Vietnam on your birthday.
Of course.
But I remember going out into the hallway and being like, oh shit, it's Seattle time, Sarah's birthday, and sent a video. So it's like, we couldn't call. Or other years I try to FaceTime you or call.
Mm-hmm.
But that really, like, send a voice message, call on their birthday.
Mm-hmm.
That is something, or, you know, any day. But
No, yeah. I agree. I had, like, one of my college friends, I remember was very good about, like, because it's not like we'd call each other that often, but on my birthday, she would, like, FaceTime and be like, hey, like,
it can be for
happy
2 minutes.
birthday. Yeah. It could literally be like, I'd be walking back in from, like, picking up cupcakes or whatever. And she'd be like, hey, like, happy birthday. Like, what are you doing today? What are your birthday plans? Stuff like that. And I'm like, and then after, like, I noticed, like, that she would always do that. I'm like, wait, like, I need to start doing that.
It takes like 2 seconds. I think so many people are like, well, it's their birthday, they're busy. If they're busy, they won't pick up.
Yeah.
Leave them a voicemail.
Yeah.
And I wish you could leave FaceTime voicemails.
Yeah.
When is the Apple update for that?
That's got to come soon.
But if you can't, then send them a video. You can do it over text, Snapchat, whatever. Send a voice memo. Sometimes I've done it with an emoji. Like, literally just show up in those little ways, because, like, it doesn't have to be this big catch up every time.
No.
Like, it can, and like on their birthday, it can literally be 2 seconds where you're just like, happy birthday, princess.
Happy birthday, princess. It's your special day.
It's your special day. And then another thing that I think is important is celebrating their achievements with them. Like, sending them a little gift or something. Like, I've tried to do that for when you got into grad school.
Yeah.
I found a Seattle-based, like, little ring that had the skyline. And, like, I don't know. It might not be a comfortable ring to wear, but I was like,
No,
even if you
it's
just
the
have it
thought.
displayed, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, it's the thought of it. And then I love this gift idea because I think I want to share it because I think other people should do it.
Wait, what is
So it's the ring.
Oh,
so I went on
okay,
Etsy and I found skyline rings. And so I found the one for the city she was moving to. And then I put a quote in there.
You can, like, engrave
that
it.
we used to always text each other when we're going through a hard time. And so it's just like a special thing. Like, literally, I don't care if it sits in your drawer for years, but it's like, damn, this person is, like, celebrating my achievements
and puts thought
with me.
into my achievement and, like, cares about it and
Yeah,
stuff.
like, you still need to show up for the big things, even if you can't be there for the everyday little things. And also, don't get jealous that they have other closer friends.
Remember when I mailed you an ice?
Yes, dude. I remember for was it my 21st, whatever
No,
birthday it was,
like, I feel like it was, like, maybe, like, 19.
whatever it was, Sarah mailed me a package. I was like, oh my gosh, your birthday gift. It was a fucking Smirnoff Ice. I had to take a knee.
Hey,
I
there's
chugged the
probably
whole
some,
thing.
like, candy in there.
I think there were other lovely gifts. I'm
Probably,
sure there
I don't
were.
know about lovely, but
I think they were delightful compared to the Smirnoff Ice. I mean, you can't. Anyway, I remember chugging it, and I was like, you guys, I'm literally drunk right now. Ran to the bathroom and threw up.
Yep.
Except for, you know what? On New Year's this year, I did Smirnoff Ice. I chugged it by the, they do the little, we like to drink the Lexus.
Yeah.
She gets it down 8, 9, 10, whatever.
8,
8, 9, 10. Count up. Give me more time. Whatever. You know the one.
Yeah.
I finished it in the time. And,
That's good.
And guess what? It didn't
throw
even throw up.
Incredible.
And I didn't even get hungover.
Holy shit, I don't know if I could do that anymore.
Well, I was careful.
That's
I was never able to do it in the first place.
I don't know the last time. I think the first time I was able to, like, successfully do, like, chug a Smirnoff Ice was, like, my 21st birthday, and I think it was just because there was so much peer pressure around me.
That seems like something we would have, like, sipped on in high school.
Oh, absolutely.
God, oh my god, oh my god. And then another thing that I love that we've started doing, and I can't take credit for this idea because I know I saw it on like Reels or TikTok or something.
You found it though.
But we send photo dumps weekly. Well,
we do our best.
Sometimes we forget weeks, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Or like we don't have pictures. So we just send like 10 pictures from our week. Try to do it on Sunday or Monday. And you just say like photo dump from this week, and then I explain what's going on in each of the pictures, or say like not pictured, this, and this.
Yeah.
And literally, even if it's that and we don't communicate beyond that, like you send your photo dump
God,
and what
it.
happened, and then I send mine and what happened, and we just love each other's and then, or like heart it,
Mm-hmm.
and then don't even communicate for that's fine.
Yeah.
I just like knowing what's going on in your life, because it's really heartbreaking when you hear your friends talk about something and they're like, oh yeah, when I used to tutor these people, when I used to have that job, and you're like,
I had no idea.
I had no idea
Yeah.
you ever had that job. I had no idea you ever did that volunteer work. I had no idea you did that research. Like that's happened with other friends too. And I'm like, shit, I've missed out on so much, and it's that easy of just sending a
some
photo
pictures,
dump and silly little things. Like, they don't even have to be that important. Like, I could send a picture of my tightly made bed and be like, I just got a new throw pillow, or like, damn, look how good I made this bed today.
I would say I literally think I've sent some like stupid pictures, or I've been like, oh, I made this pasta and it was fire.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter because I'm like, shit, what'd you put in that pasta? I want to make it too. Or like, it just, little things like that. Send each other memes, send each other TikToks. It's a love language. You don't have to have these big catch-ups. You don't have to do all, like, it's okay if you've fallen behind. Just start where you are. Like, you don't have to be like, shit, we haven't caught up in 3 months. That's too far. Like, it's just overwhelming, because sometimes I get like that in my head. But I think it's better just be like, let's start where we are right now, and things will come up. Or just call and be like, hi, what are your plans this weekend?
Yeah, what are you doing?
And then they'll say what they're doing. You're like, oh shit, have you done that before? Oh, have you gone there yet? Cool. Oh my gosh. And then, yeah, just make those efforts. So check in little ways. Doesn't have to be big. Send each other stuff. It also is fun to send each other mail. I feel like I've sent you like letter mail.
Getting a letter is so exciting.
Yeah. And just support each other's achievements. Like, right now I'm looking at the shelf in Sarah's wall, and she has my Lila card on her shelf, and that brings a tear to my eye. And it's just really cool to see the beautiful life that you're creating, and I feel lucky to be a part of it, whether we're near or far. And
I'm lucky that you're a part of it. I always think, I'm like, okay, I got to keep Alexa around because I know one day she's going to be famous. And I know.
That's why.
Yes, exactly. That's literally the only reason, because I'm like, I know one day she's going to be famous. And so I want to be able to say that I have a famous friend. No, just kidding.
Oh, interesting. So all this whole hour and a half was just for shit.
So I was going to say, what I want people to take from this is, if you think someone's going somewhere, hold on.
Use people.
Use people and use them as best as you can. No.
Fake it till you make it.
No, but going back it is so impressive when I get to tell people about, before you were coming here, I was telling people like, oh, my friend Alexa's visiting, and I was just saying like, oh, she was just in Hawaii, and she used to live in Hawaii, but after she lived in Hawaii, she was backpacking Southeast Asia, and it's just like so cool to get, and people are like, oh my God, I wish I could be more like that, and to get to be like, oh yeah, that's my friend and stuff is like so cool, I feel like, and to get to watch someone else be like, we are not in the same place of life at all. Like, we're doing completely different things with our lives, but still have our same like grounded friendship that we had when we were 10 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel the same way about you, where if I tell people about my friend Sarah, I'm like, yeah, she's super cool. She went to school at UC Santa Barbara, which is like the most amazing place. She has always been super smart and involved in such a level. It seems like you're level-headed to me, which I know you're going to be like, oh, is that what it seems? But
fake it till you make it.
Look. And like, she's studying school psychology, she's getting her PhD, she lives in Seattle now, like, she's super cool. Like, for me, that feels like, damn, I have a super cool friend.
It's so cool to get to brag about your friends.
Yes.
Which brings me back to have friends who are going to use your friend. No,
so bottom line, brag about your friends, and if you can't, get cooler friends.
I feel like we've took such a different turn from where we started.
Anyway, so from wholesome to fake to like not at all.
Oh my God.
But that's what I feel like I have for this episode.
Yeah. Keep the friends who are going to go through all the phases of life, but at the fundamentals, like, stay the same.
And also, it's okay if you go through periods of distance or closeness. Like, the right things will bring you back. They'll snap you back. And don't 100%. Be afraid to reach back out to those people, even if it's been a while, because chances are they'll be happy to hear from you. Like,
I don't know anyone who's ever like, oh, this person who I was friends with is texting me and trying to catch up. How annoying. You know, I don't think.
And if that is the case, then
they're not your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like don't think that really could hardly ever be the case.
Yeah. And I just feel really grateful, really lucky, so happy to have this time with you, that we get to be in person, and that you're a part of this, because this is so something special. I've been building, and that you have always been supportive of. In every phase of life.
I really just want to like keep talking and keep doing this, because I feel like it's so like
la 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 la.
Literally, I'll say one. This is what we'd be doing, not on microphones. We'd just be shooting the shit.
I told you, it's just like chatting, but you just have a microphone in your hand.
No, 100%. But it's like fun that now we get to do it and listen to ourselves in headphones and like
because we always thought that we had important things to say. I was people should be listening to us.
So now at least we can feel like it. Yeah, no matter what phase of life, it's gonna, no matter physical distance, emotional distance. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but like it's still going to come back to that same foundation that we built when we were 9 years old.
Yeah. And now we're going to have a good old-fashioned sleepover.
Absolutely.
We have to go because we need to go make homemade pizza and watch a movie and snuggle in bed and have a slumber party. And
like we did when we were 14 years old.
Yeah, except for this time we can legally have drinks.
There you go.
We weren't drinking at 14.
No.
What am I kidding? Anyway.
But yeah.
Love you.
Love you.
Peace out. And
so fun. Thanks so much for letting me come on.
Thanks for being on.
Oh my God. I loved it.